HalfAss Homestead, I toil day by day, planting seeds in the soil, hoping they'll find their way. With the rusty old tractor and the trusty old mule, I keep this place running, trying to play it cool. I'm maintaining my HalfAss Homestead where the bluegrass grows, working the land with my hands, that's how it goes. Though it ain't fancy, it's the life for me, living off the land, happy and free.
Hey guys, I had to start this one over. I don't know what happened. I was like, did I do it right? Did I actually say what I wanted it to say, or how the heck did that work? I'm not real sure. Let's get back up into here, get back down to here. Anime, how we doing? I talked to you on Facebook today. That was awesome. Come on, setting up the link here real quick. There we go. Start that one, keep it up on top. All right, there we go. All right, so I don't know if you guys can, like, we all watch YouTube, right? We all watch all the channels and everything. There was a new one today that blew my mind. And she's been watching it for the last 2 hours because it's just one right after the other, after the other, after the other. And it's the story of Ruby Franke, spelled Franke, and Jody Hildebrand. They're both part of the LDS church out there in Utah. And I'll tell you, it's a heartbreaking story. I watched it right from the initial pre-report to where they're giving interviews to like Jesse Hildebrand, who is a niece to Jody, who went through the same situations that the other ones are going through. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, it's a heartbreaking story. I'm not like you. I can't just go in and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say, okay, put it all in as I'll comment throughout it, because I'll be honest with you, that's not something you comment on. If you watch it, that's not something you can comment on. You get hooked on it, and it's a tearjerker, to be honest with you. And you know, I'm a pretty sensitive kind of guy when it comes to stuff like that, especially with like kids. That kind of blew my mind. But yeah, so for you guys that watch Jump to Gems, he just announced tonight I'm working with him. I have been on the phone with him back and forth for the last week. I just got a bunch of new shirts in for him today, and we're working on a special project to be able to put out the hi Arlene. We're working on a special project to be able to put out the eclipse shirts, because they are right in the heart of the eclipse in Arkansas. Hey, Melvin and Donnie, how we doing? And he wanted to do something special for it. I found a really awesome picture of an eclipse, so I printed it on the front of a shirt. I paid an artistic designer on Fiverr.com to be able to go in and take their logo, and they have a really cool logo. But the problem with their logo is it was small. I mean, I could put it on the front of the shirt for them, and I did put it on the front of the shirt for them, but they wanted it blown up and put on the back. Well, because it was such a small logo and came with such low quality, that if I blew it up to be something you want to be proud to put on the back of your shirt, it would be totally isolated. So I hired an artistic designer on Fiverr.com. They cut Fiverr, but nothing's $5 anymore by any means. I hired a guy, and I said, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I need to be able to pull this up, not have it be able to pixelate, and I want it to be able to be a full 8 inches wide with the ability to make it bigger if I decide I need to. And he sent it back to me within 24 hours. So I printed it out. I looked at it on paper. Of course, you know, when you print things out on paper, there's settings in the printer that you have to be careful of. I did it with Gary and Mary's first one, and I probably could have used that one by scanning it and then saying, okay, I want to use it, but I didn't feel right by doing it that way. So what I did was I hired this guy to do it, and I had him put it in a format so that I can make it small, I can make it big, it doesn't pixelate, it doesn't look all crunched up or anything like that. And that's for the back of the shirt. But now he's got this idea that he wants to put a saying on the front of the shirt. I just texted him again and said, all right, here's the deal. The picture that I found that you want to put on the front of these shirts, and I want to put on the front of these shirts, you're wanting to add words to it. You're wanting to add words to the front of the shirt. Well, what I want to do is I want to add those words right to that picture because I think that's important. I'm pretty sure that the photographer that took that picture has a copyright on that picture. It's a really awesome picture. A really awesome picture. And it prints awesome on t-shirts. So I told him I want to be able to take whatever you want to put on that in words in the front and put it inside of that picture so that part of the words actually come the same color as the t-shirt, which is going to be kind of a silver color, real light gray. And by doing that, it changes the copyright on the shirt or on that picture. So I'm working on that with. He's like, I want to put something on the front, and I was like, all right, like I seen it all in 24, and he's like, And I'm like, oh, don't be humming me. I need to know what your idea is. What do you want to have on the front of the shirt? Because once you figure it out, now that I have these shirts sitting in my area, I'm ready to send them to print. I've already started printing the backs of the shirts because I know those are going to go. That's just a given. You know, we're going to order shirts for like all of these different meetups are going to give away or whatnot. So I know they're going to want that. So I started printing up the back of the shirt, but I don't want to do anything more with the front until I get something solid from them that says, this is what we decided we want the front of the shirt to say. Now, I was kind of thinking today, and I was laughing about it, going, jump to gems, left me in dark. I just thought that was funny, you know, because here you are, total eclipse. There's not a whole lot of light on it at that time. And I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know. Maybe they'll catch on to something like that and want to do it. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Yeah, you know, the gems, me sees the light. You know, there's got to be something in there that uses their name on the front of the shirt to also bring it in on the back. And of course, they're printed with my logo for print shop on the right sleeve, and then on the left sleeve is just a simple YouTube logo. And on the back of the shirt, it says it has YouTube logo. And I do, yeah, on the front of the shirt, it has YouTube logo as well. So I kind of want to play around more with that one with him. I really would like to have him step up his game. So if you guys know Gary and Mary, or as we call them, Gumby and Mumbles, get a hold of them and say, hey, you really need to come up with something smart and whatever on the shirt and get it over to Mr. Moffett so he can get this thing sent to print, because they have to have them by April 8th. You know, we're already on the 23rd of the month. I got to have time to print these shirts. We're looking at probably 70 of them right now, plus some kids' shirts. So it'd probably be closer to 100. And I need to have time to print them, and I need to have time to hit UPS and send them out to them. And that's, you know, we learned. We learned hard with sending things by USPS. I'm blurry and freezing a lot. All right, well, the blurry part, let me see if I can take care of that. That's not a camera that's attached to the computer, by the way. This is the first laptop. It's called Just Think. It's the first laptop I've ever bought that doesn't come with a built-in camera. I've never had a laptop that didn't have a camera built in. And for freezing up a lot, I'm not sure why that would be. Again, I'm using a brand new laptop. I actually bought this one to run a big laser that sits beside me off-road, so that's pretty much what I bought it for. So maybe my internet down here is not as good as what I normally use up in my office, but I got tired of having you guys looking at my poor office. And, you know, up here, you know, like I said before, shell right here, even with my ears. That's all my YouTube cameras. Well, not all of them, but most of them. And then if you look over this shoulder, yeah, kind of the right point. You look over this shoulder over here, and I'm up to 12 different sets of candles, and all of those scents of candles all have their own color to them, pretty much. That's been a science for me. I've done graphics for a very long time. For me to come up with a candle and say the scent smells like this, so it should look like that, that's easier said than done, you know. Something blue, like a blue, well, that's going to be a blue candle. Something like a wild honeysuckle. All the colors of wild honeysuckle. So for me, it was kind of a blue, you know. I mean, that makes sense. I don't know what wild honeysuckle looks like. I know what it smells like now, but I don't really know what it looks like. I haven't looked it up either. And so I'm kind of playing around with a lot of stuff like that. Of course, you know, there'll be a lot of them. They're all the same color, even though they'll have different scents to them. You just have to kind of be able to set them up so that they're different, broken apart. Arlene, yeah, we did. I've had my snowplow guy here 2 days in a row now. At $40 a day just to clean out the parking areas for my employees to be able to get out of the cars and walk into the seed house without actually having to track in a bunch of snow. We put down a hardwood floor in the seed house, and the one thing about that floor is if you walk in there with your shoes wet or with snow on them, it's a nice skating rink. And so for me, it's like put a rug on the outside for them to brush the shoes off on, put a rug on the inside for them to brush the shoes off on, put a shoe tray on inside, so if they want to come and wear sleeves or whatever in there, so they're not slip sliding all over, they can. You know, it's one of them deals. We have mats that they stand on when they're working at the seed table packaging area and whatnot. But, you know, eventually your shoes dry, eventually the floor dries. But if you got to use the bathroom, you're right back into the same crazy situation. You're slip sliding all over the floor again. So I told them, I said, if you want to bring extra shoes, you take your boots off at the door and put other shoes on while you're working inside and switch back and forth. I have no problem with that. I'd rather see them do that than fall down and get hurt, you know. Speaking of falling down and getting hurt, Jimmy, my guy that's been working on my upstairs with me, my employee, he fell down the beginning of this week, and something in the back of his neck snapped when he fell down. I had to help him up off the floor, which is kind of funny, you know. I weigh 128 pounds, and I'm helping pick up a 225-pound guy, but we made it work. And so he's pretty much not really done much this week. We did take my truck to a garage yesterday, which was really special to me because we've got the camper we got to be able to move this summer. And I can't move it with the car, you know. They don't put short hitches on the back of Hyundai Elantra or on the back of Mazda 6s. So I need to have my truck available. I've got that trailer. I've got a trailer I move my lawnmower with, so if I mow my camp lot before I go put the camper on it or whatever, I've got a trailer to haul the lawnmower with. I have another trailer right now that's over at his house. It's just full of black walnut lumber and stuff that eventually will be getting brought back here and emptied back out, because when I take my first trip to Arkansas, I do believe that trailer will be the trailer that goes with me. It will have a lot of tools and stuff on it, and also it'll have inside of it my first Harbor Freight garage in the box, so that I can actually have a place to leave some stuff behind. I don't believe I'll be leaving any of my tools behind right away, but yeah, just give me a place to be able to store some stuff, like maybe some materials or whatnot out of the weather, and then eventually I'll probably get like a small shed company to bring a portable garage that's secured. And at that point, I'll start leaving some tools, maybe my generators and stuff like that behind, so I've got power and I've got stuff to work with. And I do believe at that point that trailer may be left there. And I'm almost kind of leaning towards, if I can, leaving my truck there as well. and getting Gary or Mike or David or somebody to like give me a ride to the airport and fly back to New York so I can use the car to make the trip, because the car will get a lot better gas mileage than the truck ever will. And I can afford, the flight trip or whatever back and forth as needed. And then eventually, we'll be probably taking everything else with us by now, because that just makes more sense. Yeah, I shut that last live down, Arlene, and just started this new one up where it wasn't even beginning as being something that was planned, actually, just like a spur of the moment. Hi, Amber, how we doing? Yeah, that one was like, okay, I have to get this out of here, and I shut that one down and I removed it from StreamYard, and then I'm back into StreamYard and said, all right, let's go live. Let's go live right now. Let's not schedule this for later. Let's do it now and get it going and make it work. So yeah, that's my thinking is that the first load out will probably be a bunch of my tools with the trailer and a Harbor Freight garage. So I got my truck with me, so I can go get materials, start doing stuff with, and who knows? I may end up getting like a rental unit in that area to save from hauling tools back and forth or whatever, because I'd really like to not do that more than once or twice. And then leave my truck in that area. So if I need to go there and get my table saw, my chop saw, or whatever, I can go to a like storage area or whatever and pick them up. Yeah, it's in Arkansas, Annabelle. Absolutely in Arkansas. I am still looking at Yell County area. It seems to be the end place to be. That's where everybody else is located, and that's where I want to be. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to go farther out and be closer to like Jason and Tara and them guys at White Rock or whatever. I like the White family; those guys are awesome people. And Tildy K is great people too. Wouldn't be in that area either, but I'm kind of leaning more towards Mama B, Bobblehead Homestead, Jump to Gems, Come On Homesteading, all these other channels. I'm kind of leaning more towards being in that area. Yeah, Annabelle, I'll be honest with you. I reached out Gary and Mary, and I said, hey, that lot you guys are buying right now, right next door is one that has abandoned houses on it. And I'm very interested to find out whether that lot with abandoned houses on it would be something that would be for sale. If I lived right next door to Gary and Mary, Jump to Gems Homestead, that would be awesome. The Hughes family are awesome people. Gary and I have been instant friends since the day that we actually first started talking, and we call each other brothers because we're like brothers. I mean, I can almost guarantee if you put two of us together in the same room, you'd play hell trying to get separated. That's just how much alike we really are. And being a property that is has abandoned houses on it tells me two things. One, there's probably a well or something that represents a well, so you have access to water. And the other one would be there's probably something there that was maybe a sewer or an outhouse, something like that. If it's no outhouse, I definitely don't want to be using that. Dig a new hole and build a new outhouse. I don't want their crap, my crap mixing together, because I don't want to relive the pile. But yeah, I'm kind of like, well, that area would be pretty cool. I didn't mind watching the ride out there. It wasn't that hard. You don't need to have a 4-wheel drive up to get to it. They were doing it with the car. And Mike doesn't have a 4-wheel drive truck. He did it with a 2-wheel drive. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good place to go. Yeah, well, Annabelle, I'm in New York, and if you've seen what's going on in New York right now, you'd be shaking your head going, what is wrong with people? Now, this is something new that just started happening this week alone. And it's bothering me. It's bothering me a lot, because in New York, we have a lot of what we call snowbirds, people who go to Florida in the winter, and they leave their place behind. And then when they come back in spring, which normally is around the end of April, beginning of May area. They come back in spring, they open the house back up, do spring cleaning, get everything going or whatever. Well, they have a law in New York right now that's called squatters' rights. Meaning if you aren't there maintaining your property, somebody else, probably somebody that doesn't belong in this country, can move into your house. They can have the electric turned on in their name because they have an address. And once they have a bill with their name on it, you're no longer allowed in your own house. They have legal right to stay there for as long as they want to stay there. And I've actually heard of a couple of them where they actually moved in the house, they stayed there for like 90 days, got the squatters' rights out of it, and then listed it for sale. Believe it or not, listed it for sale. No title, no deed, listed a property for sale. And the homeowner came home and found out their house was on the market, got a hold of the real estate agent that they bought it from, and said, hey, our house isn't for sale. Why is this listed? And they said, well, it's listed because somebody else paid some bill on your property for the last 90 days, claim they now own your house, and they don't want it no more, so they're selling it. And you have to go to court to fight that. It's sad. It's really sad. And, I'm not leaving my house. When I leave my house to go to Arkansas, say for a weekend or whatever, to go start working on getting our own place set up, I'm not leaving my house empty. My girlfriend will still be here. My employees will still be here every day. It's not like the yard won't be getting mowed. There won't be cars in the driveway or anything like that. So I'm not really concerned about this house. However, I am concerned about Arkansas, where if I go out there and I buy something, do I have to worry about the same thing? Well, according to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I don't right now. So now's the time to get going. Now's the time to make things happen. And yeah, New York is in shambles. I'll be honest with you. They've taken old abandoned hotels that had absolutely no value and hired contractors to go in, do half-ass job fix-ups, and moving migrants in them. And they did it on a 9-year contract for the hotel for all the rooms from one that was ready to go bankrupt. So, I mean, I don't agree with where our society is headed for one. Really don't. In New York, definitely don't. Our taxes have, they just raised our property taxes again this year. And not because they're doing more work on the roads, not because they're doing anything to help out the area or anything, but just because New York City needs more money, so let's tax the people in upstate so we can give downstate more money. They said a long time ago that they were actually considering separating New York from Eastern New York to Western New York. Eastern New York would be like Yonkers, Long Island, Manhattan, the Bronx, all them different boroughs and stuff down there. And Western New York would be the rest of us. And I sit back now and I'm like, man, I wish I would have done that. We got a governor that's an idiot. She could be the governor of the Eastern New York part, and then the Western New York part could have somebody like Lee Zeldin, who was a law officer, who understands that law and order is more important than living on your side of the aisle. And I don't know. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on around. It's not just New York. It's not just New York City. It's all cities. Yeah, Anime, I hear you. I mean, and you're in California, so for you, I would be like, oh boy, get out even faster than that. Although I did hear something today about you're gonna have to pay a extra tax to move out of California. That's how bad Newsom is. I don't know how true it is, but that's how bad Newsom is. He wants to pay extra money to move out of California. And the funny part about that is, if you want to move out of California, good luck finding a U-Haul truck. Oh my God. U-Haul trucks. This is no joke. U-Haul trucks were leaving California and Ford. So many people bailed out of California with a one-way ticket for the U-Haul truck that California can't get U-Haul trucks back unless they hire a driver to bring it back in empty. That's not a job I would want to do. You fly in an empty truck. You drive in on an empty truck from wherever you're at. Drop the truck off at a U-Haul dealership, whatever, in California, and then you got to find your own way back home afterwards. I mean, if they're going to pay for plane tickets and all that to get these U-Haul trucks back to California, their cost of renting a U-Haul is going to go up tremendously high. I mean, tremendously high. And, you know, that all adds into the costs. I mean, when you have things going in one direction and nothing else coming back in that direction, those trucks are stuck at the first location and they never make it back to where they started from. And, you know, it's kind of like the cost of goods. You know, USPS, for instance, they raised the cost of shipping a whole lot this year. For me to send a t-shirt was $4.40 out to Oklahoma. I used to be able to send that same t-shirt for $3.25 last year. The only difference is last year, if I sent that t-shirt out, within 3 to 5 days, it would be at the resident in Oklahoma. Now, it may be up in Georgia. It may be over in Minnesota. Hell, it might be out in California. And it'll take forever to finally make it to Oklahoma where it was supposed to originally go. Gary and Mary can attest to this. When I sent them their care package, it went to Missouri, which is just above Arkansas. Should have been one day trip down to Arkansas, dropped the package off, and nope, the next day it left Arkansas or left Missouri, and it was down in Georgia. And it sat in Georgia for a couple of days, and then they sent it back up to my distribution center in Syracuse, New York, where Gary's going to be up to work. And then from Syracuse, New York, they sent it back to Missouri, and then from Missouri they finally made it down to Arkansas. That trip, I wanted them to have those products for their upcoming live, and they got it 2 weeks later. It was terrible. The mail, and they say, well, we've improved it. That's why we've increased our prices. You haven't improved nothing. You've made it worse than it ever was before. Ever was before. I had a customer get a hold of me last week and said, hey, I've been waiting on this package for over 10 days now. I reached out to my postmaster and said, you know, I'm supposed to have gotten this package by now. I always my package within 5 days from the time that they ship, and it's been like 10 days now, and I don't have my package. I want to put a track on this ship, find out where it's at. 14 days. 14 days. She emails me back and she says, oh my God, can you send that package back out again? Because I think they lost it. Its last stop was at the Rochester Distribution Center. And I'm like, the Rochester Distribution Center? Ours goes to the Syracuse Distribution Center. If it went to the Rochester Distribution Center, that means it went probably about 50, 60 miles and then stopped again. It shouldn't stop there. It should have already been, in the area where it was going. But it didn't. It went from distribution to distribution. So I emailed it back. Yeah. Don't send it back to me because I don't want them back. I don't want them back. If the post office has held on to packages for that long, I don't know who's opened it, who's pawed through it, who's done what with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Once they leave my house, that's it. We take no responsibility for what happens to the package because we pay USPS to take that responsibility. And if they take that responsibility and don't do their job, then sucks to be them. So anyway, I told Gary and Mary, I says, with these t-shirts, when I ship these t-shirts out, they're not going USPS. There's no way. When these t-shirts, first of all, I got so mad about Mike and Lissa's coffee mugs getting broken. Those things went from Japan to a warehouse in Utah, I think it was. And from Utah to our distribution center, and from the distribution center to my house, all done by the way of UPS, USPS. I got 5 cases of mugs and I've not received one broken one. My cases went USPS because it had to go to a post office box, and that's the only way you can ship. And they got 8 broken mugs out of 36. That's a terrible number. So I told Gary, I said, they had already messed up the first order I sent to you. So when these shirts get put together and they get shipped out, they're going to be shipped out UPS because I know UPS will get them to you. I mean, I just ordered these shirts about Tuesday or Wednesday. It might have been Wednesday. I ordered these shirts on Wednesday, and they were delivered today. They weren't supposed to be delivered until Tuesday. Anywhere, actually, Tuesday to Thursday this week, they were supposed to be delivered. They were delivered today. So now I'm really kind of pushing Gary Mary over there, Junk to Gems, going, guys, let's get this tagline down so I can get these shirts going, because the longer you wait, I got to have time. There's probably going to be 100 shirts in that box when they ship it back out. I got to have time to be able to print 100 shirts. But it doesn't take that long to print a shirt, but we're doing two sides, so it's twice as long. Plus, you got work putting something in between the two sides, because once you take a T-shirt and you print it, you can't just flip the T-shirt over and print the other side, because the heat goes through that shirt and it'll destroy the print on the first side. It'll actually bleed right back out of the fabric again. So you have to put something between it. What I have these like big Teflon like pillows that are about that thick. You put inside the shirt. So when you put it on to do the back of the shirt, everything on the front of the shirt doesn't get touched with heat. It's only what's on the back. I figured it out on Earth, thankfully, because I do have another job coming up that they have some doing on too, where they want size of the shirt printed. And I told them, I says, geez, I'm almost thinking I might have to do the back with like a heat-treated vinyl, like you put on the back of sports jerseys with the names and the numbers kind of thing, and then flip it over and then print the front of the shirt, because the extra heat's not going to hurt the vinyl. It'll just make it set in better. But I actually figured out I can use my own style of printing on both sides, and it'll last longer. It looks better. So the only problem with that one is that the logo that I've got for them was taken from a picture, and the picture that I got was terrible. Terrible. It's a sign that goes up and then goes to a point like a price tag, and it's got these maroon grays. It says Ivan's Bar and Grill, or Ivan's, and then some Greek lettering in there, and underneath that it's Bar and Grill, all in maroon. And that being something that somebody took a picture of, there's no room. I actually went there with a flashlight with Leah and said, we need to take a picture. Hey, Gypsy Trails, how we doing? I actually went there with Leah to hold a flashlight for me on that sign, on like a big floodlight, so it was like not shining bright on it and making like little shiny sparkles on it, and trying to get the right angle of it to take a picture with my phone and myself. And the problem with that is it's corrugated cardboard. So now you got light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. Crap, I can't print that. And so I'm sitting back and I'm trying to get back together with the bartender that ordered them, because it's not the owner of the bar, it's the bartender that's doing it. And I'm gonna reach back out to him this week, which I don't mind. It gives me an excuse to stop into my favorite watering hole. But I'm gonna reach back out this week. It'll probably be Tuesday, I think, is when he goes back to work. I believe that's what he said. And see if he can get a better idea of, or a better copy of what that actual design was before they cut it into that price tag design looking thing, because that makes it really hard. It's dark brown wood behind it, and the sign turned out kind of gray, which the shirts are going to be gray, so that would be all right. But the print turned out looking black, and it's supposed to be maroon. And see what he says, it's kind of like a plum color. So I'm going to reach back to him this week and say, hey, what else can we do with this to be able to make this be what you want it to be? Because, I mean, if you want me to take that sign, send it to a graphic designer and have them redo it all in a plum purple, I can do it. But your price just went up, because now I got to hire somebody else to make that work. You can take it off the price tag. That would be a super benefit. And put it on just a white background, or you can make it a transparent background. That would be awesome too. But yeah, I mean, Gary and Mary have been a great inspiration for me learning new things in my print shop, by all means. there's cheap ways to get around things, and then there's the right way to get around things. And sometimes you just got to spend that little extra money and do it the right way. Gypsy Trails. I'm on a different internet. I am on Spectrum Internet tonight, where most of the time I'm on T-Mobile in my office. Or maybe I want to talk about my receptionist. She doesn't exist, but I wish I had one. Stop flow of people into my office when I'm trying to work. That's really good. And yeah, believe me, if you can mess it up, I can probably mess it up twice. I used to own a computer. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to be kind of jumping out of here tonight, I guess. We're up now. Hold on, 7 people. See what else we can talk about here. Come on, Homestead, the Milkman, Dave Warren. I hope his wrist gets better, because now he's dealing with the wrist, and and it's one of those deals where, if you're trying to get a lot of things done and you're overdoing it, you're going to be put on hold for a while, and he knows that. He knows that, but he also knows he can't sit down and not get anything done. So I kind of feel really bad for him. Actually, if I was in the area, I would be over helping him right now, because he needs it more than anybody else. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, look at Tim down there, Ridge Life. That poor kid, he's going through hell. I talk to him a lot. Like we chit chat back and forth almost every day. And he's another guy. You have to get to sit down and just say, hey, take the day off. Yeah, and boy, actually, a lot of them have had a bad month. Gypsy's running you ragged. Well, tell Gypsy to go trace the tail. To go follow the trail. Yeah, so again, it's like other people are helping other people all the time in that area. Drew helping Jeff, Mike helping Jeff helping Mike helping Tilda K. I mean, it's the whole community down in Arkansas says that is the area that I need to be in. That's the area I want to be in. And I can't picture any other place on planet Earth I'd rather be. I'm the kind of guy that, if you need help on something, I'm not afraid to jump out and help. If within my abilities, I'll be more than happy to help. And I have a lot of abilities. I'm a little limited on my movement as well. And in return, I don't expect anything in exchange. I mean, if I needed help, I'm sure if I asked, I'd be able to get them to reach out to me and say, hey, we want to come over and help you too. It's called putting together the A-team, kind of like Mama V got treatment of when she wanted to get the roof on Kevin, or kind of like Gary and Melanie out when they wanted to get the roof on hers. A lot like what it was when Jeff wanted to start moving things over to the new property. To which I do hope, by the way, I do hope. And I'm watching Jeff's channel all the time. He's now got a septic system put in, and Gary, before he comes up here to New York to work in Syracuse, is going to go over and hook up all the sewer lines and probably the water lines. Yeah, Gypsy Trail, it is easier for me too. I just read yours and I'm like, yeah, I can read that. I read better than I've been reading all the other ones. If everybody wrote like that, no, that one wrote, but everybody wrote like that. Put it in bold. Yeah, I could. Getting old, this is a sign of getting old right here. When you have to put your glasses on to read, but you don't have to put them on to drive, that's when you know you're starting to get old. But yeah, I mean, that's an area that I'm really looking forward to. But like I say, Gary's going to be going over to bellheads and helping him with the sewer lines put in. And I believe Nick's going to be going with him, or Drew's going to meet him there, and they're going to hook up all the water lines to the place, get everything all set up, so Jeff can go back to the water board and say, look, on my septic system fully connected, got water already connected. All I got to do is get the okay to turn it on. Once that okay is given, he can move into that house. Right now he can't because he can't live there without it. I could. I know how to haul it. But it's just one of those things, you know. He's been a long time coming on getting this place together. And the fact that he actually had that tiny house that's there now on his new property before, and it's never had a toilet in it. That blew me away. It's like, okay, you put flange for the toilet in the floor. It's never been connected to a pipe. It's never had the wax rink on top of it. It's never had that is like one of those things that is just blowing away. It's like, Jeff, how long did you live in that place? And how did you get by? I mean, I know there's a lot of ways to do things. Drew's got a huge heart, buddy. Drew's got a huge heart. Actually, I talked to Drew and I said, look, I'm looking at some property in Yell County that I may need somebody with a tractor like yours to come in and clear some land. Will you be interested in it? And he says, Yell County ain't too far away. And I'm like, all right, good. That works for me. I can play with this one. And you know, he wouldn't be working for free. There's no way. You're running diesel fuel, for crying out loud. I don't know what diesel fuel is in Arkansas, but in New York it's over $6 a gallon. Plus your time. So, you know, I would never expect anybody to work for free if I'm asking them to do something for me. It's one of those things where I grew up that way, you know. Be my employee right now. I've got him working on building my upstairs office area. It's right over top of this room, actually. There was another open porch just like this one was. We're closing it all in. Eventually, the couch right here is going to go up there. That TV and that entertainment system are both going to be taken up there. And this whole room area down here is going to be where we put all of our packaging for our soap and for our different scents and for making candles and all that stuff. I want to get all that stuff in the print shop and put it down here in its own little private area. Because to me, it just makes more sense. It's taking up so much room in my print shop to have all that stuff added into the area where we print that it's congested. And, you know, I mean, I've already got a 15 needle embroidery machine up there, and I've got all these different printers and stuff up there. I got vinyl plotters up there. I got heat presses up there. I've got all these parts to the embroidery machine and whatnot. The whole table is dedicated just to that stuff. And I want to have that table cleaned off because we'll get really big into doing these t-shirts and stuff like I'm doing right now for Junk to Gems on a rush order. 100 t-shirts on a rush order is going to be like really putting the pedal to the metal. And the more space I have cleared to be able to set t-shirts on while they're cooling, or set them down while they're waiting to get the other side printed or whatever, is all the better for me. So, you know, it's not going to happen this week, naturally. It's not going to happen before April 8th, because right now we're just shutted in and we don't even have a doorway closed in for it or anything. But it's getting there. Yeah, Gypsy Travels, you need to connect. Right there's my email address rolling across the bottom of the screen. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. That's my shipping address is right there going across the bottom of the screen too. You know, it's kind of weird. I'm doing this to follow. It's actually going in the opposite direction. That's why it's so hard to point behind you. It's like looking at a phone on the camera with somebody driving. Like Mike lets to do it to me all the time. It looks like he's driving in England because he's always sitting on the wrong side of the car. Well, this camera's kind of doing the same thing, except yeah, this right here is the couch. It's just in the camera. It looks like it's on this side. And then my TV is on that side. You know, it's just a weird visual thing where, you know, everybody's going, well, somewhere is up here, we're going to have something pointing out to one of these videos links that we just did, and that's why they can't do it, because it's always in a weird position. It's awesome. Are my seeds food or all above? Actually, a lot of my seeds you can grow as sprouts. So they are food. Once you start growing them, they become sprouts. The rest of them are things like corn, tomatoes. We do sell radishes, beets, turnip, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I wish all my furniture was CGI. I'd rearrange the room. Eliminate it all. I need space. But yeah, we sell 304 varieties of seeds, so it's not like we don't have any kind of seeds going on. Plus, we have essential oils, we have our soaps, we have our t-shirts, and very soon we're going to be having, over there again, our candles. I'm still working on perfecting that process, and once that's done, I have been selling them locally, by the way. I found out, my mom's 88 years old, and she lives in one of those high-rise, kind of not a high-rise, but it's a big apartment complex. And she said, "Oh, you're going to start making candles? I want one." Okay, great. Well, this is what I'm working with. Which one do you want? And she told me. It's called Banana Nut, by the way. Making candles brought Jimmy, my employee, down from upstairs. He says, "Man, I'm so looking for a piece of that banana nut bread." And I was like, "Yeah, it's just a candle, dude. You can chew on blacks if you want, but yeah, that's all I got for you. It smells just like making fresh banana nut bread." Hi, Lauren. How we doing, honey? So it was like she wanted that candle, and then people come visit her in that building. Of course, she's 88. She doesn't get out a whole lot, but she does move around some. Checks her mail every day and does her laundry and whatnot. And so she started bragging up about my candles, and she asked me for, well, what ones can I get from you now? This was last week. I said, "Well, I got 6. And she's like, "All right, bring them to me. I think I got people here that want to buy them." So I took them to her, and I said, "All right, well, it's $8 a candle." She said, "Oh, that's all right. They'll pay for it if they want." She sold all 6 candles. So this last Tuesday night, we went to her house for dinner, and I took her 7 more. And she's like, "Oh, you got another one?" And I says, "Yeah, I got more than another one, Ma. I got some more sitting here that I haven't even done yet." And I actually have 3 behind me for her that I haven't done yet, like wild honeysuckle, orange blossom, and vanilla. I burnt a very vanilla upstairs, and even with me smoking in the upstairs, that's all you could smell was the very vanilla. Every room smelled vanilla, and it was great. It was very strong. Yeah, my mom and I are a lot like each other. The only thing different is Gypsy. Somebody calls me on the phone, and it says suspected spam, and I answer my phone. "Hello, who are you? Why are you calling me?" "I'm sorry. What company do you represent?" "All right. Well, how did you get this number?" "Okay, well, great. Have a good day." I'll hang up on them, and then I'll block their number. She's not like that. She's not like that at all. She's 88 years old. She had a thing going on in her life unless her soap operas are on. You call her on a spam call, and I'll be saying, "Oh, ma'am, we can help you take care of your credit card debt or whatever." She'll be like, "Oh, really? Great. Can you help me get a credit card first?" "Yeah, because I'd really like to have a credit card because groceries are getting really expensive now." "Oh, yeah, speaking of groceries," of course, when they call you, they're not supposed to hang up. Like, "Oh, yeah, well, speaking of groceries, I was kind of thinking about making some spaghetti for dinner tonight, but I don't know if I should have spaghetti or if maybe I should lean more towards like lasagna, or, maybe should I have a tossed salad with that? What about garlic bread? Think about garlic bread." And she'll keep them on the phone for like an hour. No, I haven't created a Google phone. I have a Android phone, which is owned by Google anyway. No, I haven't created a Google phone. I do have a Facebook phone, which when people call me on that, the first time I had it freaked me out. I'm like, "I'm not set up to accept phone calls on this computer." I didn't have a microphone hooked on the computer or nothing, you know, until I started doing this YouTube stuff. That computer never had a microphone or camera or anything next to it. And people trying to call me on Facebook, and they're like, how am I supposed to answer a phone call on Facebook? I don't have anything here that way. Yeah, well, thanks, Gypsy. I appreciate that. I hope everybody does put a little light in this video chat here. Speaking of which, it's getting 5 minutes toward the end, regardless of where this one goes. But yeah, no, my mom, she's funny. She will keep these guys. But when they call you, one of their rules at these call centers is keep them on the phone as long as you need to get them to say yes. And she knows that. So she will get them on the phone, and she'll just talk stupid stuff to them for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then when she gets done with them, she'll be like, all right, well, sorry I couldn't help you out, honey. You have a good day now. I think I'm going to have spaghetti for dinner after all. And then just hang up the phone. They'll never call her back. they'll never call her back. Gypsy Trails, you want to do live next week? I put a link at the top of every chat. You're more than welcome to come in and join next week. Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I believe that's 7 p.m. Arkansas time. I know it is. But yeah, we can do that next week, Gypsy Trails. Yeah, it's live, man. Do it live. Do or die. All right, well, guys, I'm going to call this one up. It's 3 minutes till. Maybe, I guess we're going to see Gypsy Trails on here. We'll see what kind of conversation we get going, and maybe we'll get somebody else joining us too. I'm really going to be leaning towards bringing Barry on from Junk to Gems Homestead, so he can kind of explain more about what's going to be going on at his day too in Arkansas, because he is right in the heart of where that total eclipse is going to be going across Arkansas. And that's why he wants some t-shirts and stuff. And Mary and little Corey are going to be out there as vendors trying to sell t-shirts to everybody, wearing them and trying to sell them to get everybody else to help support the channel. And it's not just help support the channel, but it's also them support to get the down payment they need to buy the land that they find. And I am so looking forward to helping them make work. I told Gary, I said, so bill on this one just for you guys, help you get that down payment for your land. Let's make this thing, you know, they're not far from having the money they need. He's got a planned trip to Syracuse coming up where he's going to be working in Syracuse. I live 30 minutes from there. I told him, dude, I've got an extra bedroom. I've got a car that gets really good mileage. If you go to Syracuse and you don't have a place to stay, I'll give you a place to stay. If you need a ride here every night after you get done working and a ride back the next day to go back to work or whatever, I can hook you up with that. The price of gas isn't that expensive. My car gets 40 miles per gallon. It's a gallon up, gallon back. It's $6, $7 a day to take him to work and bring him back home. I'm not going to charge him for my return trip because that's my trip. You know what I'm saying? I probably won't drive straight back home. My brother lives in Syracuse. If I even do come back home, I may stay right in Syracuse and hang out with my brother for a while. So it's one of the deals where I don't know what I'm going to be doing. If he wants to hook up and do stuff like that, I told him I've got an extra bedroom already ready for you. And if the weather breaks before he gets up here, I'll stay in my camper. I don't have a problem with that either. All right, guys, let's cut this one tonight. We'll see you guys all next week. Gypsy Trails, I'm looking forward to you joining me, brother. Everybody else, have a good night. We'll see you this time around. See y'all later. Bye.
On my HalfAss Homestead, I toil day by day, planting seeds in the soil, hoping they'll find their way. With the rusty old tractor and the trusty old mule, I keep this place running, trying to play it cool. I'm maintaining my HalfAss Homestead where the bluegrass grows, working the land with my hands, that's how it goes. Though it ain't fancy, it's the life for me. living off the land, happy and